the last segment in this particular series. Now, this has been quite an interesting chord sequence to play over, to put it mildly. We've had a lot of interesting changes there. We've had our first encounter with a minor 7 flat 5 chord. We've also talked about extending some chords as well. So C major 7 becomes C major 9. C7 could become C9 if we want. Okay, so let's just compare. Have the whip hand harmony wise. So even in an F minor chord, one of the last things you'd think of putting in it would be an E, but because it's the third of our C, our root chord, that works quite nicely. So back to C, and then G sus4, G or G7 sus4 I should say. Now, for the G7, we talked about possible substitutions as well. So using our, what you might call our rule of 5. If it's a 7th chord, then the minor chord a 5th higher can be used. So G and D minor, same as we did with the C and G minor. Okay, so what can we say about an overview? Well, I think one of the most important things here is however much of the theoretical stuff you know. I used to play with a guy once. He's a fantastic player, and I asked him how he was so inventive and spontaneous in what he played, and he said, well, go and learn all your stuff, you know, all your scales, arpeggios, whatever else you want to learn, and then forget about it and go out and play. Which I kind of like that idea. It took me a while, I should say, to figure out exactly what he meant by that, but I think a lot of you will probably understand that. You know, you need to put in the time to these ideas, but then you do need to set yourself free and just go and play. So the key to this is, what you don't want to do is to play what you might consider to be a very clever line, which sounds awful. There's nothing clever about playing a line which doesn't sound nice. Okay, this is like having a V12 700 horsepower car that you can't start. As an overview then, you want to be using some of these colours, but don't be afraid to play something quite basic. You may feel at a certain point in that sequence you could get away with just playing something very simple, and that's all it needs, and there's nothing wrong with doing that either. Now, last but not least, we come to a subject which is usually at the end of these particular series, and it's a point worth mentioning again, which is about balance. We always want to be balancing our solo. If our solo is busy in one part, we want to make it, we want to get contrast into it, so we want it to be more lyrical in another. If it's quite challenging to the ear and quite adventurous in another part, then arguably we want to play something which is obvious to the ear. Anyway, as I say, this is a great sequence. It crops up in numerous places. I've intentionally picked the example with the minor 7 flat 5 chord in it, just to let you know these things do exist. I hope you have a lot of fun playing with this. It's certainly a great sequence to play over. And again, you know, if there's anything you're not sure about, please do get in touch, because it's almost certain if you're wondering something, there's a lot of other people who'll be wondering exactly the same thing. And so you'll be doing everyone a favour by asking, I suspect. Now, other than that, that's pretty much it for this series. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back with another series in this series, if you like, series 8, where I'll be investigating another type of chord sequence. You may well be very pleased to know that it's nowhere near as involved as this one. And again, that's important, isn't it? If we've done a lot of work in one particular area, let's go and do something which is a little bit easier. Give ourselves a little bit of time off from that. Again, it's variety is the spice of life, that's for sure. Thanks very much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and bye for now.